Ayelet, I know it's been 3 months since the attacks on Israel, since your 19-year-old daughter, Naama, was taken. And I cannot even imagine what these 3 months have been like for you as a mother. Can you describe them for us?
Um, I'll try. In some sense, like it's been the same day ever since. It's like the 7th of October. I wake up to the same day every day. So time kind of is distorted in that sense, and a little bit chaotic. It's like I can't stick to a daily routine or anything. It was just, I think, for the first week or two, I was kind of in a state of shock now that I look back at it. And I wasn't very, I was active with my kids at home, but I didn't think I needed to do anything in order for Naama to come back. I was in total horror, but waiting for the country, for the army, for something for it to happen to bring her back. At that point, I didn't think I would need to, fight to sound her voice, to sound my voice, to bring her back. But this is where I'm at now. So it's like, asking how my days are, how have I been? I've been in a nightmare, waking up to the same day all over again, and thinking what's the best, most effective way to bring her back every day that I wake up.
Ayelet, what has that entailed? You're saying you have been fighting for her return. What does that look like? What has that been like?
I think it's trying to, first of all, to get any information that we can. Of course, we don't have any official information from the Red Cross or other humanitarian organizations that should be in the picture. So I think it's the information, and then it's the talk with the media in Israel and out of Israel and America mostly, in order to raise awareness and to push for or call for action, and so that these actions create the pressure that is needed to understand what are the pressures that are needed, what are the actors in this whole situation. And then we meet with, of course, our officials in Israel, and I had a very short, condensed trip to the U.S. where I met with UN representatives that are involved or should be involved in this humanitarian crisis and in the return of the hostages. So yeah, I think these are the efforts. This is the fight.
Do you feel that the Israeli government or even people internationally, officials from all over, are doing enough to secure the release of the hostages?
Oh, that's a hard question because it's, you're asking how I feel. Sometimes, I think until Naama is back, I can never feel that enough is being done. Even on my part, I'm always thinking, what else can I do? How can I save her? And most of the time, that's what I'm feeling about, the whole whoever has his hands involved in this, if it's in Israel or internationally. But I understand your question. My feelings are one of a mother's whose baby is held hostage in Gaza, and what? How can I feel that enough is being done until she is really back?
When you witness the military action that is going on in Gaza, I'm trying to put myself in your shoes, Ayelet, and I can't again imagine. But I would be so sick with worry that
Yeah.
my loved one was in grave danger because of the military operation.
I'm worried. Yeah, I'm worried in so many directions, by of course what can happen to her in her very vulnerable and high risk situation as a young girl there. And then I, of course, worry when there's bombings going on and military, it's a military zone. So I don't really know what to say about that in the strategic sense. I just can say that I'm extremely worried, and I just try to go on a TV diet and not watch that so much, and kind of focus on what I can do, or what and my the things I need to do at home and my work. That I do a little bit of my work still. I'm a doctor. I'm still doing my family practice. So, I try to focus on other things and not feel that immediate danger all the time.
I'm sure you have to do that for your own sanity. And you also
Yeah.
have 3 other children.
Yeah.
As you said, you're a doctor. I understand you're a doctor for the Israeli women's football team.
Yes.
Which
You would say soccer, right?
yes, I was going to
Yeah.
say it's soccer in our country.
Soccer, yeah. It's the
Have
Israeli
you found
national
some,
women's team. Yeah.
have you found some comfort and support from the women's soccer team,
Oh,
from the
so much.
community, from your circle of friends?
Yes, so much support, so much comfort, yes, and a really a great big hug that I feel from the community and from all the players in the team and everyone in the Israeli Football Association, and actually everyone around, all my family physician colleagues and of course family and friends and neighbors, and so many are supporting and asking what they can do to help. Regretfully, I cannot be working with the team right now. I kind of, I cut most of my work, and I'm just doing a little bit of the family practice. But yeah, I do feel a lot of support. I just wish all of this love and support could already bring her back.
I know you texted with Naama that morning. She was at a kibbutz near the Gaza border, and she wrote to you, I am in the safe room. I haven't heard anything like this in my life. 20 minutes later, you checked in and you didn't hear from her. And you soon learned that something terrible had happened. And then these horrific images of your daughter, your 19-year-old daughter, being pulled from a Jeep and put into the car with obvious wounds. Her sweatpants or pajama bottoms had blood on them. She was cut on her arm. Unimaginable, and must have resulted in such a feeling of powerlessness for you. I think unbearable is the word you use, which I think probably describes it. You haven't really looked at that video, but you know it exists. How do you begin to process that?
Yeah, by now I've seen most of the video, I think, because it's been shown in so many places and on the interviews that I have been on, but I didn't see it at first. On that first day, my kid saw it, and my older son, he said, "Mom, don't watch this. You shouldn't watch it." I understood what the content was in general. But by now I've watched most of it, at least, the frames. It's been 3 months. So I tell myself, that is over, that part where she's brutally dragged by the hair, the wounds even. I know she's still wounded in the legs, but I'm telling myself that part is over, and now she's there. She's been seen there. She's she just has to hang in there and she's okay. So that, I think, I'm trying to describe how I feel about it, what I try to think in order um, to survive the sights, the sight of this video. But it's, it's just the pain strikes every time again. I try not to watch it so much, I just have to keep on going, and I can't let myself. So that's why I'm saying, I'm telling myself, that just happened on that one day, and then she was taken, and she's hanging in there. She'll be okay.
You're surviving by not thinking about it too much and not letting your mind go there.
Yeah, it's the truth. I was truthful. I'm very much aware of the graphics of the video, and the very, how it's very explicit, do you say? Like very real. I had to face it clearly at a certain point when there was this a lady in Beverly Hills that was doing like an exhibition of her wearing the same clothes like Naama, bloodstained and walking handcuffed in the street as a demonstration of of that video of Naama. So I came across that, and then kind of hit me, and that this is about Naama's video. And then I watched a little bit of Naama's video again. It was, I think, maybe 5 weeks after October 7th. So, it comes up again and again. There was another display of like bloody sweatpants hanging from a building in Times Square. It keeps hitting me again and again in different directions.
It must be very difficult because in a way, your daughter has become a symbol of the brutality that occurred on October 7th,
Yeah.
which must feel surreal and unfathomable to you.
Yeah, exactly. And it feels like it's almost disconnected from my Naama, from my little girl. It's she's a smiling, happy, gentle girl, friendly, loves little children, works with children. So many things that are not that frame, that video. So maybe in my mind, I'm also disconnecting this and trying to just go through this. My sister is always saying to me this saying that when you're going through a storm, keep going. No, don't stop. Keep going. So when this storms me, the video and the bad thoughts and that feeling of powerlessness, I just say to myself, you're going through this. Keep going. Keep going. What can I do?
Israeli officials and witnesses say that everywhere Hamas terrorists struck on October 7th, the rave, the military bases along the border, the kibbutz, that they brutalized women. I almost hate to bring this up to you because it's so painful, but a New York Times investigation included interviews with more than 150 people, witnesses, medical personnel, rape counselors, and they found that attacks against women were not isolated events, but part of a broader pattern of gender-based violence that day. Reading about these accounts is absolutely sickening. But for you, what has that been like?
Well,
And if this is too painful to
yeah,
answer, I totally understand.
I'll try to just, I'll be focused because, what I'm feeling is absolute fear and horror. But what I want to say is that we don't know. We don't know if something happened to Naama or if she was subjected to sexual violence. We do know that she was subjected to violence because that we see on that video. So, that brutality is very out there in the video. And of course, it's a violent terror attack. But as for the sexual violence and using women as weapons of war, like we've seen in the investigation by the New York Times and from all the testimonies that have already been published. For me, it just says that there are still 13 young girls held, kidnapped in Gaza. And for me, that is something that is so urgent. They need to urgently be out of there because they are the highest risk group at risk and the most vulnerable to violence of any sort. So yeah, I think what I want, what I'm thinking about all of this is that we must take action and get them out.
When 100 hostages were released in November, in late November, mostly women and children, it must have been devastating that your daughter was not among them.
Yeah, I waited. Yeah, she was. They started to come out. I couldn't even watch that. I couldn't watch it. I was happy for them and I was hopeful. This is starting. That it's moving. They're coming out. But I couldn't watch the filming of it, and I was just waiting for my Naama, and I didn't get the phone call. The phone call of the official saying that she's up, she's next, and then the agreement was broke, and then they started fighting again. And it keeps going on.
Have you been in touch with any of the released hostages or their families? Did any of them give you any information? Did they see Naama while they were in captivity? Any news at all?
Yeah, we did get. It's over a month ago that they were released, the last ones. But we did get a sign of life notice from Naama. A few of the hostages, the mothers and children, they saw her for briefly for a few hours when she joined their group. She was alone and then joined them. So they did say that she's talking and walking and wounded in her legs, but still walking okay. And she seems very strong. But that was, I remember that evening when we got that call to say that some of the hostages released have seen her.
Did that give you some comfort?
Yes, yes, of course, of course. I almost felt like she was, I felt like, okay, now she can come, she's there. It was so comforting. But now it's been over a month since. So, and we didn't get another sign because, they started, the military is attacking again there. So I think there's no contact because of that. So.
Do you think there might be another pause in the fighting that would enable the release of more hostages? Have you gotten any kind of indication that might
There
happen?
has to be. There has to be. That's the only way. I mean, I don't know if to call it a pause or a ceasefire, but there has to be another one because that's how they're gonna get out. They have to come out and they have to be released. So, in my mind, maybe, I'm not a strategic expert, but I think that's how it's going to work. Um, some sort of agreement. So that's what we're waiting for. But at the moment, we don't have any information of this happening. But we're very hopeful that this is the next step. For me, I'm hoping that this is the news I wake up into tomorrow morning, every morning.
With each passing day, do you worry that the hostages are being forgotten? I live in New York City, and I walked by a poster today of a 49-year-old woman, and one of the posters that's all over New York. And I stopped and I looked at her face, and I wondered how many people just walk by these images every day and don't even look at them. And I'm curious if you worry that.
Don't worry. I worry all the time about that. I go through the social media just to see that, it's still talking. I actually see that it's less. I go through the newspapers and the and TV. I want to see that still the talk is about the hostages and their release. But I do feel that people are starting to go back to their routine, to their everyday life. And I don't know what to do about that other than just to continue and to put up new photos and to do new activities to raise awareness and to keep the awareness of the situation. But it's we fear of that. I think the Israeli the family forum for the hostages in Israel is very active in that sense, and we have rallies every Saturday, and we keep going, and also through media, because it cannot be forgotten, it cannot be put aside, and the world cannot be silent about it until they're all back.
I know it's late there and I want to let you get some sleep, but how do you hold on to hope?
It's a good question. I have a few things. I think I kind of grow it, like you grow a plant or something from inside. I feel like I have to grow the hope from inside every day, all over again. And a lot of things that come from the outside, like my good friends, my partner, my kids, they water it, so and help me hold that hope and that faith. I don't know if I'm making sense in how I'm explaining this, but it's something that I need to be actively holding this hope and the faith, and also I think of my Naama, who is so positive in her thoughts, and such an amazing young girl. And I think of her and I say, I have to see her again. She has to come back. So of course the hope is there all the time because of her. I think that's the best I can explain it.
Dr. Ayelet Levy Shachar, thank you for spending some time with us and having a very difficult conversation about your daughter. 19 years old who you haven't seen for 3 months. Thank you.
Thank you for your time and for your efforts to put this out there.